Hey there, Cowboys Nation. Welcome to Dallas Cowboys Fan, your ultimate destination for all things America's team. Whether you bleed blue and silver or are just starting to catch Cowboys fever, this is the place. If you are a die-hard fan, please make sure to subscribe for more latest news and updates of your favorite team. All right, Cowboys fans and NFL enthusiasts, we've got a juicy one to dive into today. Rumors are swirling that a major $20 million star on the Dallas Cowboys could be on his way out, and some insiders are already hinting at two possible landing spots for him: the Washington Commanders and the Detroit Lions. Whether you're a Cowboys die-hard or a football fan in general, this news is a bombshell, and there's a lot to unpack, so let's break it down. Now, before we get into specifics, let's set the stage here. The Dallas Cowboys are always one of the most watched teams in the NFL, for better or worse. There's no shortage of storylines, player moves, and coaching decisions that spark endless debates, and we're talking about America's team, a franchise that commands massive media attention no matter what. But what makes this potential player exit especially interesting is that it involves one of their highest-paid stars, someone who commands a whopping $20 million salary. That's no small change for a team with Super Bowl aspirations. And if they do end up parting ways with this player, it'll mark a major shift in the Cowboys roster and potentially impact their path forward. So who are we talking about here? Although no official names have been confirmed, speculation points to players like Tyron Smith, Dak Prescott, or one of their standout defensive stars. But given the Commanders and the Lions have been mentioned as potential suitors, we're likely talking about a player who could provide immediate impact in leadership and performance on either of those teams. For context, let's first consider why the Cowboys might even entertain parting ways with one of their stars in the first place. Dallas has always been a team that's had to make tough cap-related decisions. With big contracts for players like Dak Prescott, Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, and Trayvon Diggs, they've had to be very strategic about where they allocate their resources. The cap situation puts pressure on the Cowboys to ensure they're getting maximum performance for every dollar they spend, and that can mean difficult choices, even if it means saying goodbye to a fan favorite. This rumored player's departure could actually free up critical cap space, potentially allowing Dallas to make moves that solidify other weak spots on their roster. With the season's trade deadline having recently passed, if the Cowboys want to build for the future, they have to be smart about who stays and who goes. Now let's get into why this star might be tempted by a move to either the Washington Commanders or the Detroit Lions. Each of these teams has something unique to offer, and a star player would have distinct opportunities and challenges at each potential destination. Let's start with the Commanders. Washington has been building a new culture and trying to emerge from years of rebuilding and rebranding. A Cowboys star moving to Washington would certainly shake things up in the NFC East, not only by potentially elevating the Commanders to divisional contention, but also by deepening that age-old Cowboys-Commanders rivalry. Imagine the drama and storyline if a player who once suited up for Dallas were now lining up across from his former teammates twice a year. The Commanders have shown improvement and are building a roster with plenty of young talent on both sides of the ball. A high-profile, experienced player could be exactly what Washington needs to bridge the gap between potential and actual playoff contention. Then there's the Detroit Lions, a team that's become one of the season's most surprising success stories. The Lions are on the rise, and Dan Campbell has crafted a gritty, competitive, and hard-hitting team that embodies a no-nonsense, blue-collar mentality. Detroit's got an offense that's firing on all cylinders and a defense that, while still a work in progress, is hungry and aggressive. Adding a seasoned Cowboy into the mix could provide the missing piece Detroit needs to make a legitimate playoff run. And for a player who wants to be part of an up-and-coming squad that's steadily building respect league-wide, the Lions would be a very attractive option. Detroit's fan base has been hungry for success for years, and joining the Lions at this pivotal moment could be an opportunity to be part of a truly special story. But what about Dallas fans? Cowboys Nation has long had a love-hate relationship with certain players. It's natural to get attached to star players, especially those who've been around long enough to be considered part of the team's identity. Losing a star of this caliber, especially to a division rival, could be a tough pill to swallow. We're talking about a player who's contributed to some of Dallas's biggest games, memorable wins, and even a few heart-wrenching losses. There are fans who feel this player is integral to the Cowboys' identity, and if he were to go, it might feel like the end of an era. But as much as the Cowboys might want to hold on to their stars, the reality is that the NFL is a business, and sometimes those tough decisions are what it takes to stay competitive long-term. If the Cowboys do decide to let go of this high-profile player, how might this impact the team going forward? Well, it could actually open the door for some of their younger players to step up and fill those big shoes. Cowboys fans know that Dallas has been focusing on developing young talent in recent years, especially on the defensive side with players like Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs quickly becoming household names. In a way, parting with a veteran player could provide the opportunity for these rising stars to take on even bigger roles and make the defense their own. And on offense, it would be a chance to make room for players like CeeDee Lamb and the next generation of skill players to shine. But if Dallas does decide to part ways with a star and clear cap space, they could use that freed-up money to bring in fresh talent or fill gaps in areas where they've been struggling. Offensive line depth, secondary help, and wide receiver depth are all areas that Dallas has targeted in recent years, and cap flexibility could allow them to bring in reinforcements that help them make a deeper playoff run. So while losing a star player always stings, it could actually be the beginning of a strategic pivot that makes Dallas a better rounded and more competitive team in the long run. So where do things go from here? If the Cowboys and this player do decide to part ways, expect the rumor mill to continue heating up. Fans and analysts alike will be keeping a close eye on both Washington and Detroit to see if either team makes a serious play for this Cowboys star. It wouldn't be surprising to see other teams try to get in on the action, especially given the high value a veteran star could bring to a team with playoff aspirations. Remember, trades and contract negotiations in the NFL can take twists and turns, and with so much on the line for everyone involved, this saga could still go in any direction. And for Cowboys fans, this is going to be a season where emotions run high. The team's been on a roller coaster in recent years, and there's a sense that Dallas is close to putting together something special. Whether this player ultimately stays or goes, the Cowboys will need all the focus, resilience, and fight they can muster as they aim for a deep playoff run. Football is a game of inches, and sometimes it's those unexpected roster moves and the emergence of unproven players that end up making all the difference. The loss of a star player might feel like a setback, but in the world of sports, every ending is also a new beginning. So, Cowboys fans, buckle up. Whether this rumored exit happens or not, the rest of the season is bound to be full of twists, turns, and intense drama. If this player ends up with the Commanders or the Lions, it could be a game-changer for the Cowboys' rivals, but it could also be a wake-up call for Dallas to recalibrate and get stronger. Football fans, tell me your thoughts. Would you be heartbroken to see this player leave Dallas? Or do you see this as an opportunity for the Cowboys to rebuild and reimagine their path to the Super Bowl?